Well, so I started a new little element of the business I've been working on. I do paralegal work coordination for the business I currently have together. It's called Apex Law Service. It's a little business trust, and I started a DBA, and where the DBA is called Praxis Professional. Well, I started Praxis Professional Foundation Incorporated, a nonprofit here in California. We're in the middle of registering it. We've sent the paperwork in. So when I say I've started it, it is in the middle of being processed, and we're going to be writing our bylaws and things like that. We're going to be adding some directors, setting some business policies, looking at how to start funding. We're going to be paying paralegals and coordinating volunteer paralegals to do work for our attorney clients the same way Apex Law Service does. I'm going to be narrowing Apex Law Service down to just DUI criminal defense, and I'll circle back around and get to the reasoning behind that in a moment. Praxis Professional, the DBA of Apex Law Service, is to help crime victims advocates, and this is specifically the victims of sex trafficking who have been rescued um, by different non-governmental organizations. There's different groups. They're largely Christian. I have different people I've met as a youth minister over the years, and just indirect ministry, who have gone on to do other things in law enforcement. And they have worked with these different groups. And then I've networked with people who have started other groups who I just contacted directly because I have enough basic touch point elements in the business that I'm working on to where I've talked with them about how I can do as much as possible to help the people who they help. So these private investigation non-governmental organizations have these growing lists of people who they've pulled out of sex trafficking situations. Well, we have different people who practice different types of law, but they can take these different people who have been rescued on as clients to advocate for them in different areas. So there's different things people need. There's some lawsuits that can be filed. One of the issues is in budget hotels, is where a lot of I think it's something like 80% of all sex trafficking occurs in these budget motels. So there are red flags that people in the industry and security professionals who secure budget motels are supposed to look for different red flags that are signs of sex trafficking. There's no one unified way to look for things, though. It's things like paying all cash or paying for with a prepaid debit at the hotel, having the do not disturb sign out the whole time, having two people show up with a large age disparity, and then multiple people coming in, like generally of the opposite sex of the younger person, or of basically the same sex. Like they're always the same. Well, it's dudes. It's dude, John clients, whatever you call those. Man, I really am very disturbed oftentimes talking about this, because I'm also not trying to soften up what is actually going on, but I'm not, you know, I don't want to euphemize everything. I want you to know what it is. I mean, it is just that people get taken to hotels and pimped out by sex traffickers, and sometimes it's little boys and sometimes it's little girls. So these are these patterns that happen, and there's ways that they track the sale of sex trafficking online is done online. Sale of sex trafficking is done online. People go and they find, oh hey, it used to be Backpage. That got shut down. There's all these other websites, and there's groups like Deliver Fund that they monitor these different places. When they find something that looks like it's brand new and it's real and it's going on, they have different ways of figuring out things. Like there's different groups like Hotel Cam. Anytime you stay in a budget hotel, you can take pictures of all the insides of the hotel room, and you send it to those guys, and you document to them where the hotel is, Well, when people take someone to one of these hotels, that's where they take the pictures of them and then make the little ad right there from the internet, either the hotel internet or some other internet. I mean, maybe if they're, I don't want to say smart because they're not smart to be doing this stuff, but if they're wily, they're doing it from some other internet connection. Um, but the background can be matched, the pictures, so you can target where that actually is. So if you could automatically monitor enough of these things, like it would be a thing where the Riccio case is one where there was a big settlement. If there's more cases that are focused like that, where there's red flags that were overlooked and therefore liability extends to the management and the security business that secures and the management company that manages the hotel, they settled because it was going to be just a huge legal case for them if and they didn't want to keep arguing it. All the reasons why people settle is relatively losing case on their side. So if you had a situation where you develop products where business management businesses can monitor automatically these different red flags, and when those red flags popped up, you would already be integrated over to a business like Deliver Fund, who interacts with local police. You would show them everything from your end as a hotel management company, and they would be seeing things online. They're monitoring online. You would already have probably your hotel room wallpaper and things registered with with the businesses, so they could look at that a little more quickly. And automatically, you'd kind of say, "Oh, there's some red flags here. Is there any visible notice of this type of background? Any of these advertising pictures online right now? Because this is this specific room where these things are going on." If that was a thing where insurance companies gave a better rate if you opted into doing a security program like that, I think you could, through industry of security, hotel management, and also insurance, you'd be able to stem the tide just out of people's. I mean, so many things in our Constitution are like this. Like, it's not just negative laws against something, but it's a positive motivation. Like, you want to save money on insurance. Okay, it's a business. You want to make the most money possible. You don't want to get a bad reputation for being negligent. Things like that. So I started a nonprofit though, because it's going to be, I'm going to limit it down even further than who we allow to work with us now. Generally, we only attract conservatives. If you're going to cause me a huge problem by being antagonistic liberal, I just will terminate interactions with you. But there's people who, Democrats are against sex trafficking as well. Okay. But then I tighten it up even further because there's a set of philosophies and things that I just think are not true, they're not right, they're not proper. And when kids are rescued from sex trafficking, I think the system that exists sends them through psychiatry situations so quickly, and the DSM-6, I think it is now, and everything in law and politics and culture funnels kids right into a big option is LGBTQ. Well, it's no option whatsoever. Sexuality really shouldn't be an option at all when people are sex trafficked for a number of years, for one. For two, everything that undergirds that is something religious. It's a complete and total overrunning of the state to say these things are only psychiatry, and we're all cavemen to say that there's something that is damaged emotionally and spiritually with people when in different ways, and that they need to progress spiritually and be around people who care about them in a Christian context. So we advocate for biblical counseling and not for psychiatry. And so what we do is we seek out attorneys who have conservative backgrounds and will, as attorney clients of ours, are committing to only taking cases that they feel they are conscious bound to be able to take in a way where they can serve that individual through advocating for biblical counseling using state tax dollars. Like we're not blocked out from the state. It is not a separation of church and state issue. The opposite is the separation of church and state issue. To argue that that psychiatry and LGBTQ is not a psychotic religion in our modern day is a complete and total separation of church and state actual issue. So it's the reverse. This is punk rock having been punk rock before punk rock was punk rock. It's just the equations of it. It's no new thing. It's something that's been going on forever. And so I wrote my specific articles of incorporation as such. Hey, we are going to be doing paralegal work for attorneys who take sex trafficking crime victims on as pro bono clients. We are a conservative Trinitarian paralegal contracting group. We will require our members and our clients to sign a statement of faith. We will require attorney clients only to take cases that they foresee being able to steer in the direction of biblical counseling and away from the direction, you ready for this, of LGBTQ influence, ungodly psychiatry. There. You're allowed to say these things in the United States, and it's natural and divine right. It's natural law that our Constitution limits government from infringing into and violating of ours. Somehow we've been completely bridled and our voices have been silenced, and it's not possible if you don't connect anything in your life to needing anybody in any of these groups. I need nothing from you. So that's it. There's no coincidence that this month has so many probes and barbs that just start to irritate me that I finally put out the stop and did this thing. It's been in the works. We're making an LP, so we're going to formalize our actual relationship between the four business trusts and the LLC. We're working on a corporate private investigation license. Are all going to do corporate sponsorship of the nonprofit. The donations that come in aren't going to be paid out to employees of the other businesses. It's just going to be this Christian activity of still professional paralegal work for attorneys as we're asked to do so. If an attorney feels like they're going to all of a sudden take the case another way, we won't feed them another case. We will continue work as we see as our basic duty to continue under the Sixth Amendment as part of a litigation team. An attorney is supposed to zealously advocate if someone's representation takes something a direction. We are bound slightly in those situations, potentially. We just won't work with someone after that. There's a lot of different little elements of what I just said that is going to be intentionally a battle for the next number of decades. So